polynomial as a product. So today we're going to talk about the greatest common factor. Factors are the multiples or the numbers that multiply to be a particular number. So for instance, the factors of 55 would be 1, 5, 11, and 55. And the factors of 21 would be 1, 3, 7, and 21. Now when we're talking about the greatest common factor, it will be the highest number or the highest factor that both terms multiply to be. Did I forget a number? No. So what's the highest greatest common factor here? Well, it would just be 1. So my GCF here would be 1. So when we're talking about greatest common factor in terms of variables, well, if I have x cubed, well, that means how many x's do I have? 3. If I have x to the 5th, how many x's does that mean I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then if I have x to the 7th, that means I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? So the best way to say that you have the greatest common factor with the variables is you take the lowest amount or the lowest exponent of the variable. Because there's 3 here, there's 3 here, and there's 3 here. That would mean that the GCF would be x cubed. Okay? So moving down a little further, you can have numbers and variables put together. So if I have the greatest common factor of 6x squared minus 10x cubed and negative 8x, well, what are my factors of 6? That would be 2, 3, 6, and 1. What are my factors of 10? That would be 1, 2, 5, 10. What are my factors of 8? That would be 1, 2, 4, 8, and it was negative, right? So, along with the numbers, 2 is my greatest common factor that's in all 3 terms. And then I look at my exponents for my variables. What's the lowest amount that I have? Technically, this is x to the first power, so it would just be 1x. So my GCF would be 2x. So, now, we talk about factoring out the GCF. Well, factoring out the GCF means that you find the greatest common factor and you bring it to the front. So, if I want to find the greatest common factor of 10 and 25, well, technically 5 times 2 would be what multiplies to be 10, plus 5 times 5 is what multiplies to be 25. So my common factor between the 2 terms would be 5. So if I factor this out, that means I'm left with 2y plus 5. So again, when I use the term factor out, that means I'm just bringing it to the front of the polynomial or the binomial. Okay? We do not get rid of the greatest common factor. 5ab plus 10a, we want to find the greatest common factor or factor out the greatest common factor rather. So again, this is saying 5 times 1a times b plus 5 times 2a. Well, again, my greatest common factor is not only just 5, but it also has an a. So that now leaves me with b plus, what's my last term? 2. So 5a times b plus 2. Stay tuned for the next part.